Hello, everyone. Welcome to our live stream, where we will answer the question, how to build enterprise-ready software for customers in 2025. So my name is Colin. I'm an enterprise AI engineer with BuildShip, and this is Shams, our CTO. So Shams, how do we build enterprise-ready SaaS in 2025?
Same as 2024. But a lot easier, hopefully. So with all the tools and BuildShip, being able to and scale your vision quickly, I think we can do a lot faster. And the way I think the way we want to demonstrate that is if we can build something together live, and hopefully it can help people understand how to go about it, and maybe if there's any more feedback or what we can do, and then we can expand on that as we go along. I'm thinking we can do the idea we have is to do a roadmap app, since that's something that's a very common feature or a product that a lot of companies need to help them prioritize what's important for their customers. So we can start with that. What do you think?
Yeah, sounds good. Understanding who are our customers going to be and what are the kind of features and steps that we need to be able to serve them.
Yeah.
So build the waitlist first, and some way of kind of getting customer interest.
Yeah. So I think we can start. Let me get I'll share my screen.
So with this, we'll try and bring in some of the primitives that you can now do only with AI. So things like getting feedback from the customers and then integrating that into the roadmap itself. Like being able to actually process survey results instead of just having a Google sheet with a bunch of semi-structured
I think
data.
we can. That might be interesting to do. Let's start with creating, let's start something simple where we want to create a list of features and then try to vote and downvote them, and see, and then maybe we can add a comment section on them and see how we want to prioritize and have an AI monitor it. So this is something simple, like creating a feature. Let me make it bigger. So what do we have? Name, we'll call it title, description. Do you think we need anything else?
I think having some sort of attribution to who suggested it. I think if we're doing a voting system and a reputation system, it starts looking like a DAO.
We'll keep it as a user for now, and then we can expand on that. I think that's a good thing about being able to use BuildShip in this way, where you're able to add things as you go along, not having to worry about migration or structuring how you're gonna. I think a lot of the time you have to think about what's the final gonna look like. So, but we can just start and then add things incrementally. Just call it.
Okay, nice. That's the benefit of the visual builder too. It's very highly explainable.
So I'm just here. I'm using a create document on a BuildShip database, and I'm just structuring what my document should look like. So I'll just add everything in the input for now, and then we can add more things like, and then we can do new day. So even though, so this would be created on the back end, so a user can't manipulate it, something like that.
This is everything BuildShip's great for, where you could be using Supabase or MongoDB or any of these great database tools. But if you want to just build something all within BuildShip, there's full database.
So you could do the same thing here. We can basically, let's say we just for, and then we'll just do features, and then we can copy the same thing and do that. But I think on Supabase we would have to define the table. So that's something that's more rigid, but yeah.
It's something I'm almost surprised with Supabase at this point. Like I love them as a company, but they aren't building these AI first solutions like very quickly. At least I'm sure they're doing it internally. But things like being able to add embeddings, like you have to have a separate embeddings table set up and do this whole configuration. But something like BuildShip database, you can run embeddings basically out of the box. But I'm sure Supabase is going to get there in the next couple of months.
So I'm just going to do like another simple one where it's like get features, and then we'll do that, and then we'll just do a collection query, and then we'll do features. So just so that, and then we won't have any inputs or filters, since we'll just get the, maybe we can add more data here. Status. And then we can call what statuses will we want, like released,
propose. And then is there like an in voting status or something, or is it just status released?
We can keep it. Let's do proposed for now. But yeah, as we can extend this, maybe we want to use them for, right? So for now, do that, and then we want to add maybe we can do status not equal to cancelled. So that's something that we can do too. Sure. But yeah, let's create a feature first. So it's really easy to, what's the first feature? Voting.
So I like some of the new voting mechanisms. Like if we're letting people propose features, how are we going to actually let them vote and do authentication?
Yeah.
So think of some mechanisms. Like one way is if they're proposing something, then only by proposing something or only by engaging on that proposal and like suggesting changes, do they earn voting tokens? Some sort of contribution or reputation mechanism.
I think if we want to build this out into a DAO or like a Web3 thing, then it might be interesting to see if this is a project, who's investing in it, and how do we reward people that are investing in the project, and in terms of either being an employee or being a customer, or being an early adopter. That kind of mechanism would be interesting. But so here we just randomly tested it. it says it's successful. Let's
I think just with voting, like determining voting rights is another one. So just a simple way of whether you're pulling from a database of I'm an employee and they have a certain amount of shares in the company, or I'm a token holder, like just getting that ledger and using that to determine how many votes I have.
Yeah. So we see here we're testing this collection query node, and then we can see we got an array of objects, and then it's this one here. And so it has the created at, the status, and it didn't get filtered out. So if we say equal to here, or here, wait, no, I want to do not equal to, and then here we can play around with the values, and it wouldn't affect the actual flow because this is a test mode. So let's say we want to get the status is canceled, if there's any canceled. So there's no canceled feature request yet. So it's showing no result. Cool. Let's do something more. Okay, let's do voting. Let's implement really simple voting. We'll just do a
Should it be
counter.
just voting starts at 0 and go negative or positive, or should it be votes for or votes against?
I think we can. Let's do, yeah, maybe we can do for or against. I don't mind.
I think it's nice to keep the total, like vote for and against. Yeah.
Sure. We'll call total votes 0, for votes none. Did I spell that?
Again, an A after the G.
Cool. Why is it orange? Oh, it's nicer. Okay. Let's implement a vote flow. And then here we can do the increment. No, let's see, update. Let's see if we have a, there's a BuildShip database, update field.
How are we going to identify the vote? Is it with an ID? Like they'll click on the feature and then that will get the ID from the database?
So I think here we can do like, we can do the product, no, sorry, feature ID. So when we get the features on the front end, again, it will have a document ID, and then we can list that and then store it. So then when the request, we can include the feature ID, and then it would know that. So I want to update a field value, but I see this one is, let me see.
So just for anybody new to BuildShip who's watching, you have these individual nodes. It kind of looks like how you teach kids how to code with the like Lego bricks of do this, then do that. And they run as individual JavaScript functions. So if we don't have the function that Shems is looking for here, we can just edit the code ourselves or use AI. And it lets us have the benefits of vibe code, human-led.
So this one here, we don't have a node that allows us to increment a field value. So what we'll do is we'll modify this node to increment a field value. And then so I'll get rid of this one. Okay, so it says it did it. So that looks okay. We can try it. Let's try.
So vote for voting. We can vote for voting.
Maybe. And then we need to figure out what the ID is. So we're just testing out to get that, and then we'll do it manually for now.
Each of these flows are going to be APIs or tools that agents can run that you can then use. And so they'll be able to, run the get features and then select the right one, like the vote one, and then call the vote based on the feature ID. Do you need the user as well?
I want to do voting for. I wonder how we want to label this, but the idea is that we can have this for, we can just call it position in terms of like for or against. And we can call this, wait, no, we'll keep this as a string. I want to use this as the field value. So let's test this out first. And then, so
field is not a number.
So because we created this field earlier, we can just, because we created it without the number. So
yeah. You can do a new collection name.
No, but you can just like update document or update field value, and then we can. This one is the we can do a feature. What do we call it? Is that
total votes?
Total votes. Okay, set it to 0.
And then do for votes and against votes too.
Yeah, so that worked. Okay, so let's do vote. So here, actually, I want to make it a select. So we can do for, do we call it for votes?
Yeah, for votes, against votes, and total votes.
Okay.
But I think if you look at back there, it made the key with a dash, I think.
No, I never did. So it's all like yeah, so it's all camel case, but we can do, so what I'm thinking is we can copy and paste this. Then for the field key, we can use the position. Just then here we can say, no, we don't have the feature. We need to get that again. Yeah. So we can see, what happened here. I think it's because, okay, let's try this again. So why did we do this? Because this is not a number, it's a string.
Okay.
This, if we need to update this to be a number. Let's see if that helps.
And so in this type of database, can you just change it to numeric without changing the rest of the fields?
Yeah. So this, we'll just try this again. So that updated, and then
Total.
And then if we see, if we try this again, we can see if it got the number. See, now it's no longer in quotes, so that's cool. And then we can try it again. So we'll do forward rights.
And I think it's because the field key is a dash. So when you enter the position, even though you did the camel case, it added a dash up there. So if you edit the,
sorry. Okay, is that what you meant? Sorry.
Yeah.
I missed that. I think we're, so yeah, I think this is doing, okay. So that, yeah, so this is automated to help you kind of make something, but you can always override the value. So I think we can, yeah, just do that. So here's, so we can try. Cool. So now we have that, and then we can check if we get, yeah. So now we have, I think one of the votes got registered and it failed. So now we have a discrepancy, but we did make this, we can set this to 1 in the test, so we can fix it. Cool. So
nice. Now we have simple feature submission and then also voting on features. We don't have like authentication or user validation at all yet. But
yeah,
it's the
so I think like basically everything starts out like this, and then you want to map out the fundamentals of it. There's no reason to get complicated if you're not clear on what we want to accomplish. But so let's think about what else can we do that's I think if we have a what do What do we want to do next?
So like we could do some sort of user attribution, or the other thing that we could do is build something a little bit more like new AI into it, where when you vote, you can also give feedback to the feature. And so when you submit a vote, you can say, I would vote for this feature if they changed XYZ. And then that collects feedback, and we can summarize that feedback into like a new product roadmap or a new feature.
So feedback?
Yeah, some sort of feedback mechanism that we can get.
Or do we want to do like
We can use
feedback or like comments or like, yeah, maybe like feature comments?
Yeah, feature comments is a good one.
Yeah, so I think like that should be very similar. And then we can do the same feature ID and comment. And then here, what we want to do is we can decide if we want to add it directly to the features collection, but then that might be if you have a very popular feature and then you have a lot of comments, then the document size would be too big. So what we could do is we can just make it into a subdocument, or like we can make it into a subdocument. So to feature ID and then comments, and then that will be the collection. So here we can add comment, and then user. No, we didn't add user here. Just keeping the user as a string for now. And we'll do user, and we can do the same, create that, just so that we can eventually like sort it on the front end.
And then feature ID.
The feature ID we used in the collection. So basically, in the database, there's going to be like it belongs to the comment of this feature. So we technically don't need to include the feature ID, but maybe we could still, but it's not.
So each feature is going to have its own small table.
Okay. So we can have that, but it's not necessary. Cool. Where's my house?
So now, like once we have the comments, I know you're still kind of building it out, but people like Amazon are starting to do things like summarizing the comments with AI. Maybe we could build something like that. So instead of having to read all of them, we can summarize.
So let's add some comments. Let's add some comments. We can. Do I still have my feature ID in the clipboard? Yeah. So voting should allow users to change their vote. Okay.
Nice. We can say voting can be quadratic as well if you want another one.
What's that?
It's like a blockchain fundamental where you take the square root of the number of votes you have. So like if you're voting with tokens, somebody with like 100 tokens can do 10 votes on one item. But if they wanted to split it between multiple items, they could do up to 100 votes. So it allows people who care a lot about a topic to vote more, but encourages people to vote more broadly.
I want my votes on the blockchain.
When are we getting our blockchain nodes changed?
We haven't decided yet. Maybe if anyone wants to recommend, we can look into it.
I saw something recently. They're running Doom on chain. So like it seems like we're about to get more just generic programs being able to run on chain, which would be exciting. I think a few chains now have like JavaScript functions that we could call from BuildShip.
We can explore that. Any other comments for voting?
Let's say that comments should be integrated. You can also vote on comments, and the top comment should be integrated into a new feature or something like that. Comments should be able to change the feature request itself.
Cool. So, we did all of these. Now we need the AI to summarize it. Let me move this here. Summarize feature comments.
I like the music you have in the background, very common.
Forgot about it. Yeah. Does it go through well? We should add it. Yeah. We can add it.
It's nice. Like you can really just hear it through the stream. It's like ASMR vibe coding.
Why not? Well, hopefully it helps. Cool. Let's do a query. Collection query. Let's see.
Like this is one of the first things that we're building here that feel really new. Like there's probably a set of 5 to 10 AI primitives that you just couldn't do before, and being able to summarize a lot of semi-structured data seems to be one that's really going to stick around. Like we were seeing Amazon and other people, I'm sure, like Reddit and other conversation threads are going to benefit from being able to summarize.
So we'll get the comments. So we'll do features slash feature ID slash comments. And then we'll test if this works. Oh, no, that's not. We'll test if it's getting the comments. So we are getting the comments. And I think what we could do, actually, I think we could do this. If we update the schema, let me see. I want to see if we can update the schema. Cool. See, now we updated the schema, then we can see the actual data. So that kind of helps us be able to play with that data once we want to pass it. So we'll do ask AI, or I think we can try any preference, or
the OpenAI chat or Anthropic chat is a nice one right now.
Maybe we can do this one. Okay. Wait, does this one allow us to? Yeah, cool. So we can try
4.1.
We can try this model, since it's not a very complicated task. Yeah.
Just to summarize, yeah.
here we wanted to, let's figure out how we wanted to.
Yeah, what do you do? Do you just pass in the whole collection query object, or do you get first to another node to get just the comments out?
I think maybe if we just get the comments, or we can just use JavaScript here. So that's the thing, was like we were able to create very flexible software to be able to.
And that little AI, the magic wand up there at the top right, has been working really well for me, to be able to say, like, get all the comments from this variable and from this JSON, and then use that as like a stringified input. But I think you have to give it the variable you want it to use as well. From the last node, maybe I'm not sure if it has reference yet.
The collection query. We can try. And then that looks pretty good.
Yeah, I think it's pretty good at that type of thing, where you know what you want to do, but you don't have to worry about writing that little code block. That's what really helps to break these things down into kind of like micro functions as well.
Let's try it out and see if it works. Looks like it works. Should be flexible, allowing users to change their votes, votes recorded on the blockchain, quadratic voting, using AI. Cool. And then, another AI thing we can do, actually, I like the new GPT image model. I think it would be interesting before we create a UI. It would be cool to have a cover image for each feature. So when we're creating the feature, we can create the image poster for it.
Yeah, that first one there.
Is this using the new model?
So little context here, like, it's using the new model, and this is something that if you want to use the new model, you have to do a like organization verification, which takes a while with OpenAI. So instead, you can use our nodes using the keyless node, and you'll be able to use the image generator automatically.
Nice. So we don't.
It does chomp some tokens though. Like it's their best model for a reason. So just watch out.
Do we know how much it costs, or we can just?
Yeah, it's $10 per million tokens for image input, and $5 per million tokens for text input. So they've really upped the prices here, and also they're starting to do things like charging differently per modality, which I find interesting. So some things you could do are, like, if you're entering an image to be modified, just reduce the image size before. So like start using tricks to reduce. These things will get cheaper and cheaper.
We can just prototype now, and then when we're ready, then it'll be 10 times cheaper, usually.
Yeah, I think that. Then also we have the video generators and computer use assistants that take a long time to execute because there's just a lot of processing. So there's these like really interesting use cases, but you have to wait.
And I think there's a lot of work to be done to like optimize those processes. I think one interesting thing about like computer use is that it still doesn't, like, you have to take a screenshot, send it back to the model to understand it, and there's no skill, like in terms of, imagine if the model is able to somehow memorize what if it's done before and it's able to repeat that, that might improve the efficiency. So I think there's a lot of work and research to be done to try to improve and optimize these things. What are we doing? This.
Yeah, it's like in the 70s and 80s, like computers were massive.
Yeah.
It took up entire rooms, and then they went to these tiny little things. And now we're talking about data centers with NVIDIA and Meta and others that are, one computer is an entire warehouse. So it seems like things are now getting bigger again before they get smaller, and that's also an execution time, everything else. Then you have the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy with the, deep thought, which takes 1,000,000 years to run and think. So let's see if we end up actually reducing execution time, or just the problems that we're trying to solve get more and more complex.
Yeah. I mean, also like I think that's, you either make it faster or you make it higher quality, and we just need to decide. And I think that's why we have different models like Nano and O and all those. So it becomes more of a choice, and that's why it's important to have the flexibility to choose, because then you get to decide, this for this use case, I need this, right? Let's see.
Yeah, you hope that the models start getting better at deciding for you, like what to go and call. But I think OpenAI said they're not going to just have like a coordinator that decides for you. They're trying to build it out another way. They'll get much better. But for now, it really helps to understand like which models are the right tools for the job.
Yeah. Do you know how this node works?
It outputs BuildShip file instance. So if you upload it directly from there, it should be okay.
Is this the BuildShip file?
No, do the entire output.
This whole thing. Okay, yeah, you're right. Okay. So we'll do that. And then we'll call it cover feature covers. And
then just make sure you end this with .png, whatever it is.
We'll call it title .png. I think yeah. Okay. And then we should update this gives us a download URL. So we should show here image, and we call it download image cover URL, and then we'll do it doesn't like us anymore. Why doesn't it?
File?
I think it's because, yeah, you're right. So it's using this name, so we can call this cover image file, and then it will be cover image file. Yeah, cool.
The only thing you might do in production with this is like first get this out there and then generate the image, because the image generation does take like 40 seconds or something like that right now. So if you wanted to get the feature up there and then do like a placeholder image and then
we can do
update.
That. I think we can do that. So yeah, that's a good idea. So we'll just move this here. And
nice.
then
Okay, perfect.
What we'll do is we'll get rid of, so since this is like, it's invalid now because it's after, so you can't use it. So we'll remove it. So we'll still create it. And then after that, it will create the image, and then it will upload it. And then here, we already have this. So So
Yeah, nice, repurposed. Could you do something like output the flow, like call that done while you're updating the image in the background? Or there's no way to branch like flow output and then continue a flow separately? You'd have to call another workflow, I'm guessing, right?
So you would have to, because it's
Okay.
currently the URL would go, it would wait for the last node and then would output the flow. And if we move the output flow to here, it would terminate before it gets to that. So the thing here is that this is a database. So you can subscribe to the database or get the document, get the features, and it would still get you the document. So you don't have to wait for the workflow to finish. Since we don't need anything from this workflow, right? You can just say done as a string, I think. So that would still work fine. So let's see, what do we? I think this field key is not cover image.
We've been playing around with image gen a lot, and I think we've been able to do things like generate event posters with like actual real good text on it and the imagery that we want. It's able to take multiple images and then build a scene around it. So there are actually a lot of good use cases for marketing beyond just toy examples at this point.
I think like especially this model is you're able to give it a lot of details and instructions, and it performs very well. What other features do we want?
I think it's a pretty good start. I think maybe let's see if we can get an interface going. And like the best case scenario is somebody would be able to submit a feature, and we can add the comments and voting next time maybe. But just a quick interface would be good.
Submit feature requests.
Oh, it has to go through the proper approval, huh?
Yeah.
So that's something we could do now. It's been 50 minutes, so we can also say that's for next time if you want.
We can do that. We can just test this out and see, and then we can.
Sure.
It's not a number. Oh, because we made this a number. Okay. I think a string would be fine.
Yeah, I think so. It's not a file instance, right?
But we used this field. We updated it to update the number, so it was thinking it's a number. But now we're using it to set a URL from earlier. So the validation helped us not set this URL as a number. And then let's see. So we can see here it's created a new document, and now it's generating the image. So and then once it generates the image, it'll upload it, and then we'll be able to update the document, and then we can get it from there.
So then when you do the get features, that should now include the URL in the, so you can put that on your website or whatever.
So let me see if we don't have it yet. So we'll create it and then we'll see it. How long does this take?
About 40 seconds. So that one worked at least. Maybe look at what that one is. It's a pretty heavy image, so it takes some loading.
I think it crashed my. It's frozen.
Oops.
It froze.
Yeah, they're pretty heavy working with these. Like we've been playing around with video generation too, and it just takes a while. So sometimes when we're trying to display this in the preview panel, like the new preview panel,
Okay.
It just needs a while to think.
Okay. Well, let me refresh.
And then maybe
I think I might have passed in the wrong file.
Oh yeah, you did file instead of output, maybe.
Yeah. But
okay.
Upload it. Yeah. But I think that's like we can do more next time.
Yeah, it's a good start.
Yeah.
Well, thanks everybody for joining. Thanks for walking through how we can kind of build the fundamentals and starting point of a like consumer-ready enterprise level SaaS. Wishing you all a wonderful day. Thanks, Shams.
Sorry.
Thank you. We'll see you.